All right, welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing transmission. This is your host, Mr.BDA, and I'm glad that you could be on board for this one. In this little transmission, I want to talk about a rumor that's been circulating around the wire, and that is that supposedly Daniel Jacobs might be moving up to super middleweight or some form of catchweight to take on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the perennial underachiever. Now, listen, I'm not against anybody making or earning some money, especially pro fighters. It's a tough sport, and if you can make some bucks while you're active and while you're young, hey, go ahead and do it. But I will say I got something against fighters, especially lazy fighters, getting opportunities over other fighters, guys that really earn their keep and have put in the work and who are willing to train and give good fights. Julio Cesar Chavez has been a constant, and I mean constant, disappointment. He was heavily hyped up because of his father's name. Look, yeah, he ended up coming up the rough way. He didn't have an amateur career. He ended up having to learn in the pro ranks. But there was a lot of fights where he came in overweight, lazy, lethargic, not willing to put punches together. He was also caught using certain PEDs. He was caught using marijuana against, like, for example, I'll give you an example. Brian Vera, I forget his name. Tough contender. By the time he fought Chavez, he had really put all together, but he was a smaller guy compared to Chavez Jr., and he ended up almost beating Chavez in the first fight. Then finally, Chavez in the second fight trained the way he was supposed to, and even then, he couldn't really stop the dude. He looked better than in the first fight, but he still struggled, so he never really was going to be a great fighter. I think a lot of people were fooled by the Sergio Martinez 12th round when he dropped Martinez, and people were saying, well, if he would just started earlier. Yeah, but for about 8-9 rounds, he was just on the defensive. Same thing against Canelo, except he spent about 11 rounds on the defensive. This is a guy that's not willing to take punishment. He's not willing to take the risks. He wants to get paid $1 million for each fight, or $2 million, maybe more, but he's not willing to take the risks in order to satisfy the fans. So I can't really respect a guy like that. Daniel Jacobs, well, listen, he wants to earn his bread as well. This is a big name for him, relatively speaking. Julio Chavez Jr. So he wants to get a couple of rounds in there, look good against the guy, make him quit probably, and then he'll probably get another fight against Canelo, maybe it's Triple G, or who knows, maybe some of the top super middleweights. Daniel Jacobs is a complete package. This guy can fight on the inside, bang the body, or he can fight on the outside and jab and roll with the shot. So he's pretty good. At worst, he's the third best middleweight in the world. But this Chavez Jr. fight makes no sense, and I would rather see other more deserving middleweight or super middleweight fighters taking on Daniel Jacobs than a guy who, I think he's only fought once in the past 2-3 years, and who has disappointed us more than a woman who pretends to be a freak but then she turns out to be a corpse in bed. That's the type of disappointment Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is, and I can't accept that. Really can't. So guys, tell us what we got right, tell us what we got wrong. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out our main channel BDA, where we hold a live podcast. Tell us what we got right, what we're wrong. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and that's about it, fellas. Thanks for watching.
So to escape from reality, I am reality.